Over the past 2 years, Bishop Barron has grown increasingly outspoken on political matters and public figures, including Zoran Mandani, a shift that has divided opinions among both supporters and critics. This has been further compounded by his involvement on a religious advisory committee alongside controversial figures like Paula White, his appearance on Ben Shapiro's show, and his decision to platform Dave Rubin, each sparking their own wave of controversy. With that context in mind, let's hear what Taylor Marshall has to say, and I will share where I agree and where I part ways with him. Let's listen.
So what do you guys think about this situation with Bishop Barron? Am I being too tough? Or have we seen in the last 2 years or so Bishop Barron get off course? And you have to remember that in order to appease, like if you, okay, I'm in this space, right? I write books, okay? They're bestsellers. All right, I have a popular podcast. All right, in order for me to get onto the big shows, if I want to go on to Tucker Carlson, or if I want to work for Daily Wire, like Matt Fradd does now, if I want to get any of these big shows, right? Or Dave Rubin, I want to get a Dave Rubin. Deals are made, all right? Like Jordan Peterson, if he's going to come on your show, you're going to have to pay him. Or if you're coming on his show, there's a quid pro quo, there's promotion of books, promotion of all kinds of things. That's how this thing works. And so you need to understand that this isn't just like, hey, we're out here having conversations. There's a lot of politics involved in this. All right, there's even some shadiness going on. And the danger is if you're constantly pursuing for the big platforms, the big influencers, the big names, etc., and you're always swimming in that direction, it is my belief, from my experience, that you are going to have to compromise your beliefs. You are going to have to accommodate them for them to accommodate you. That's how it works. That's why you don't see me doing a lot of cross-pollination with other influencers. I'm a one-man show, right? I don't work at Daily Wire. I don't work for Pelican or any of these groups. I'm just a maverick. I'm a lone ranger. I'm a cowboy. Because I know if you're going to go into that realm, or even this one, all right? Bishop Barron wants to be in the Oval Office. He wants to hang with Trump. He wants to be part of this faith committee. That's going to require you to pray with Paula White. That's going to, there's her saying all this stuff about comparing Trump to Jesus Christ, and Barron is there clapping with the rest of the crowd. He is expected to do these things, to pray with Paul White, to put his hands up, to clap at her stupid, blasphemous words. That's part of the fee you have to pay to be in these upper levels. And I think it's this is why this episode's called The Fall and Humiliation of Bishop Barron. It is self-inflicted. He wants to be on Ben Shapiro because he values Ben Shapiro. He thinks Ben Shapiro is a big voice. Right? He does not value Taylor Marshall. He does value Ben Shapiro. And in order to go on Ben Shapiro is going to say, and by the way, when you do interviews, often they're like, is there anything you don't want to talk about or anything you do want to talk about? Or is there anything you don't want me to ask, right? Or I want to ask you about this. That's why I'm having you on the show. Are you comfortable with that? This happens all the time, right? I find it impossible that Ben Shapiro invited Bishop Barron during Holy Week on his show and directly asked him about the Iran war and Pope Leo randomly. That was discussed. I'm 100% sure that Ben Shapiro said, is it okay if I ask you about the Pope and the Iran war? Oh, yeah, sure, do it. And Bishop Barron had the nerve to get on there and say, oh, no, Pope Leo's not talking about the Iran war. When he's talking about violent wars. What? And that's the toll you pay to be on the show. And when you're in that kind of mindset, what you want to do to make it all work is you're constantly downplaying the differences. So you're like, oh, Ben Shapiro, well, you love God in your own way and you're following your conscience and Vatican II, so you're going to make it. And, Dave Rubin, you acquired 2 children with your homosexual lover, but you kind of trying to do the same thing and you're kind of conservative and you vote Republican, so we're also in the same tent together. I'm not going to bring up any of the uncomfortable stuff like being gay, not believing in Jesus Christ, or using money to acquire children because homosexuality can't produce children. We're not going to touch all that. And so I think Bishop Barron, he's trying to ascend to the highest levels, and he has. He's in the Oval Office. I guess he's on Daily Wire now, but Daily Wire's kind of cooked. Daily Wire's not like 3 years ago, Daily Wire was cool. Daily Wire now is not cool, but he doesn't know that maybe. So he's trying to ascend into the upper levels and the upper atmosphere. And in order to do that, he's kind of doing this 1970s, 1980s, minimize the differences. We'll create this conservative coalition with Paula White, Dave Rubin, etc. So I think that's what's going on. And sadly, at this point, I don't think Bishop Barron's going to change. I think this is I guess anyone can change. Anyone can change. Maybe he's going to watch this YouTube video and say, Taylor Marshall's not an extremist and I should talk with him. Honestly, that's what's kind of interesting too, is we want to build coalitions and we minimize differences, but except for people like Taylor Marshall, except for traditional Catholics, except for people who go to the Latin Mass.
So now let me tell you where I agree and where I disagree. To begin with, I have to say that Bishop Barron's comments on the Ben Shapiro show regarding the Iran war were simply unacceptable. When the Pope clearly stated that the prayers of those who wage war will not be answered, Bishop Barron, instead of engaging it, deflected, suggesting that Pope wasn't speaking specifically about the war, but making a more general statement. Then the very next day, the Pope came out and clarified that he was indeed referring to the current conflict, which cast Bishop Barron in a very poor light. This raises a broader question. Why would he entangle himself in such a charged and polarizing topic in the first place? Was it to appease his friendship with Ben Shapiro? Secondly, regarding Bishop Barron giving a platform to Dave Rubin, who is openly in a homosexual relationship and has adopted children, I personally do not think that merely inviting him onto the platform to discuss broader social or political issues is in itself problematic. However, where I believe the criticism becomes more understandable is the timing and the broader context. At present moment, Dave Rubin is already facing heavy criticism online because of his unwavering support for the Israeli government during the Gaza conflict. Many people have repeatedly accused him of lacking intellectual honesty and of failing to seriously engage with both sides of the argument surrounding what is happening in Gaza. Because of that existing climate, bringing him onto a major Catholic platform at this particular moment, when he is already viewed negatively by many online, is, in my opinion, more of a social media disaster for Bishop Barron than a fruitful discussion. Thirdly, regarding the accusation that Bishop Barron is compromising his clarity on certain issues in order to maintain friendlier relationships with larger platforms like Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, or Dave Rubin, I think that remains to be proven. With the exception of the Iran war situation, I don't believe Bishop Barron has genuinely sidestepped any significant disagreements. He remains one of the most prolific and effective communicators of Catholic teaching in the entire English-speaking world, and I don't think that complaint is fully warranted. That said, it is becoming increasingly difficult to ignore the fact that Bishop Barron appears to be gravitating toward one particular side of the cultural and political spectrum, specifically those aligned with or sympathetic to Jewish intellectual and media circles, while conspicuously avoiding engagement with other major voices such as Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and Megyn Kelly. It's worth noting that all three of these figures have taken strong positions against the Iran war and have been critical of certain forms of Jewish influence in American public life, which may explain why Bishop Barron has kept his distance. So while I do think his pattern of associations is clear and worth scrutinizing, I still don't believe he's actively compromising or misrepresenting Catholic teaching itself. The concern is less about what he's saying, who is he choosing to say it with, and perhaps more tellingly, who he is choosing to ignore. I hope this video is helpful. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. God bless you.